Welcome back, everybody. My name is SunsFan TV. I don't regret that choice for my Twitter handle, but the great Joel Larson, GG. That's the new age extension for Twitter.
That's me.
Terrific job, my friend.
I recognize that nobody ever called me Heffaklumpen anymore. Everybody called me and couldn't pronounce it.
Hey, are you saying I'm saying Heffaklumpen incorrectly?
Yes, correct.
Wait, it is correct?
No.
How do you say
incorrect. Heffaklumpen.
Heffaklumpen.
Yes, that's better.
Okay, that's too difficult for my uncultured American mouth to handle, unfortunately. So we're going to stick with Joel Larson, GG, at twitter.com.
Wow, you're really plugging it, aren't you?
Guys, you need to follow. So actually, I have a request for production. If I'm going to be sitting next to you like this, and we're going to be on camera for this long, which is uncomfortable for me because you're so attractive, can you please put some sort of a filter to make me thinner or anything? Just literally anything. Just cover up his face with anything. It's just too handsome.
Ask the fine folks of Snapchat. Maybe you can put an old filter on me or something.
WePlay is definitely sponsored by Snapchat. I think I heard that in the background. So we're going to be good to go. What do you expect to see in this upcoming game? Anything special?
I think that a lot of nothing in particular comparing to the other game. I feel like everybody was quite open in these games, and they kind of followed through when they had a big thing to go through. We saw double strange bedfells, and that's just such a big opening to go for.
When you see it, you force it.
Yes.
That's how you play the game.
Kind of, yeah. And then, sure, there's one setup, but you need to figure out what other things you should combine the setup up. Much like we're talking about the knights, should you have the Heartless? Should you have the dragon? Do you want the trolls? And some small things will decide whether you go for one or the other. Maybe it's a global item. Maybe it's that you just get Necrophos earlier than the others. It could be anything, right?
I'm going to make one bold prediction. Demons will not win the game.
Sure.
And I will make another prediction that savages will be more prevalent in this game. I was actually shocked. There's almost nothing going on with savages.
Yeah, savages are great early game, but they're harder to combine late game, much like demons, if you're going to follow through with it all match.
Yeah.
I feel like. All right.
What is your favorite level 1 unit? If you had a choice of anything to pick from.
Venomancer for myself, but we could see very clearly here that Nair likes Scrappys a lot.
Yeah.
I actually reviewed the stats from his qualifying games, and I believe he played Scrappys 14 out of 23 games or something like that as his final lineup.
Do you think that's more, obviously it's personal preference because he likes to play it, but do you think that a lot of people are not going Scrappy and Banter, so it kind of opens it up for somebody to pick something up?
I definitely think it's a metagame choice, as well. Much like you said, both metagame and him having a very solid understanding of what to do with it, when to roll, when to level up.
Right.
All of these things are coming from experience, so this is why it's easy to gravitate towards certain lineups that you have learned, and they're then easier to win with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we're seeing an early Bloodseeker. Typically you don't see this hero very often unless you're definitely going Assassins. But of course, if you get an early level 2, it can help you in the early game. I think the one thing that a lot of newer players maybe don't... what are you pointing at, buddy?
Early brawny buff.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so maybe we're going to see that.
The Lord at 97 rank.
So if you look at this tab, you can see a lot of the units actually changing. So right at the moment where after you got your item, you have the option to sell units and buy units that are from your previous role. So you see one person picked up a Razor after they took the Eidolon, or Font of Creation, as it is called.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot of back and forth, and we see a very early Summoning Stone at round 3. That's actually amazing.
That's that. I would consider that to be a top 3 item.
Yes, I'm with you there. I think it's one of my favorite design items in the game too. I love how it works in so many different setups, and it's not only the beasts or the savages, not only the druids, but things like Arc Warden. There's just a ton of ways you can combine Summoning Stone, and not only is it versatile, it's also powerful.
What do you think about taking Forged in Battle this early for Snowf?
I do like, it depends on what item you get, but I definitely do like it because nobody's ever picking Brawnies, so they're super open. And in case you get an early X2, you can get an amazing tank if you pick up a Blade Mill, as I talked about earlier. If you get an early Beastmaster, which not a lot of people are picking, that could also be super powerful because it's, one, good at getting last hits, and then you can go into Hunters, and having Axe means you have a good tank as well, so...
Do you feel like it's too dependent on finding a Beastmaster at some point, like a level 2 Beastmaster? Because Axe, like especially in this composition as we're looking at right now, he's not getting any kills.
No.
Ever.
I think if you're...
This is not the brawny buff guy, by the way. But
yeah. If you're not getting a Beastmaster, then it is going to get harder. Then it's a lot more important that you get Axe 2, and especially another Axe 2 pretty early, so they can combined get last hits for you.
Right.
Maybe even put items on them or sacrifice some of your win percentage early, so you will get a super powerful tank in the late game.
That's always the tough decision, is whether you like lose early on purpose almost just to get these early kills on the heroes.
No, for
but of course, this is a Forge in Battle tier 1. This is, I wouldn't say this is super good.
No.
This is literally like half the effect of the old one, right?
Yeah, if it's only tier 1, I don't like it a ton. If you're lucky enough to get a tier 2 item and it being brawny, I love going for it. Much like Time got an early Summoning Stone. It's going to be problematic if it wants to go Scrappy with Summoning Stone. It's not a lot of summon units there.
Yeah, right now we don't have much synergy. I mean, we have Primordial, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And this is what I was kind of saying earlier. A lot of newer players need to realize that, especially in the first, I want to say 10 to 15 rounds, level 2 units are just more important than any alliance.
I agree.
Like, you need to put that kind of on the... I mean, obviously, you want to get 3 warriors. That's pretty big. That's a very common one to get, of course. It's not super difficult, but level 2 units trumps all. And this is why Bloodseekers in this lineup makes no sense other than being a level 2 unit.
Right, exactly. Just like Samson said, they level... I mean... They scale so much when they become level 2 that, I mean, it's just a huge difference. Bloodseeker, why we don't see him that often, he's powerful, but he's also kind of RNG involved. Because if he hits the wrong target, like we just saw, hitting the axe, he's going to die. He's going to die.
That is true. And this top CML right now has Savages, 2 to be exact, and the Tooth and Claw is level 1. And, of course, this would stack if he gets a second one, which I do believe is technically possible to get at level 10. Of course, losing on purpose increases your chances a little bit.
Right. So what Samson is saying here is that if you get a global item at a certain tier, that is already predetermined for you, so you will not see that global item again at a different tier. So the only way you can get it is maybe losing on purpose to be able to get lower items to get the same thing. And this also means that if you get a Tooth and Claw only tier 1, this will probably only be his early game lineup, because 7 damage to stack does not really matter late game.
Yep. And Tooth and Claw is, I want to say it's a top 3 item as well right now. It is, I know that's debatable. I'm a Savage lover right now. I mean, look at Venomancer. He almost takes out, actually it's going to be close. Okay, he wins the battle as a level 1 unit because of this item. Tooth and Claw is insane.
Yeah, Tooth and Claw is really good. I think at level 1, no, it's just great. Tier 3 Tooth and Claw is not fantastic, because then you want to kind of transition out of sustainable damage into more burst damage. But Tooth and Claw at rank 1, rank 2, totally amazing.
This is the thing, right? This is how I look at how strong this item is right now. There's 2 aspects to this lineup at this current point in time that are very powerful. First of all, he has not lost a round. Of course, it's still early. He only has level 1 units, but he's stronger than he looks because of the Savage bonus and the Warlock, which you're seeing so much heal come out as well.
Yes.
Very good start.
Go very well together, of course, because Tooth and Claw stacks damage. So if you have heal and sustain, you're going to stack more Tooth and Claw damage, and it's going to be a good road to victory. So this might be a bad matchup, since it's meeting a Assassin lineup early. So they can actually burst down the Savage units.
Shadow Fiend, though. Oh! Full HP, just like that. What were you saying there, Joel?
Well, I mean...
It's Warlocks, bro.
There's rules in this game, but they don't apply to Shadow Fiend, okay?
That's true.
I mean, that's just the case.
I mean, that's why he replaced... who was it? Was it Witch Doctor he had as the second?
I can't remember. All I was thinking about was Shadow Fiend when it came about.
It makes a lot of sense. It's fine. So looking at the scoreboard here really early, looks like Wrist in second place at the moment. Has a couple early Knights in the form of CK and Omni Knight. Of course, not really pigeonholing himself to a specific strategy yet.
Nope. Keeping himself open here, still rocking those. Since he got 2 early level 2s in Tiny and Axe, he keeps a third warrior around because it's going to keep him in a top health or maybe a streak for a long time. But maybe he wants to pivot off those early units, and that's why he's leaving himself open with the potential of Knights.
Yeah, and CML is actually changing his strat a little bit, but he's leaving it open just in case he gets some level 2 Venos or Enchantress in this case, which he does right here, it looks like. So Tooth and Claw not actually being active on the board, but he's going for Scrappy Inventors at least early, which obviously, like in terms of the synergy, I'm going to say it's probably the best alliance in the early to mid game, right?
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, later in the game, we're going to have a lot more burst damage going on, crowd control, and when you get the buff for 4 of your units, that's just so hard to penetrate, especially since most units early, they don't deal a lot of damage, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to be longer fights overall.
So let's go from top to bottom. So we got Max on the bottom right now. Of course, things have changed quite a bit in terms of the kind of what we talked about in the last game as far as the lose streak is concerned. You can only get 2 max gold now, depending on how many losses you've gotten in a row. So that means people are going to be playing a lot differently. He has 20 gold, so I believe that is the top in the game. So he will be trying to get a fast 50, and of course, like we've talked about, level 7 or level 8 is when you start rolling really hard.
And you can see him selling all of his units, kind of going all in and into the lose streak. And we often see mages going for the lose streak because they kind of peak at the time where you want to start investing your gold and start to turn it around. That's when mages peak pretty well. But much as you said, it's harder to go lose streak now, and not only because of that, but also because the games are shorter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we want to keep this a little bit newer, newbie friendly, just a tad, just to explain a little bit how the interest works in this game. Especially if you played auto chess, it's technically a lot different. The way the interest works is every 10 gold that you have at the beginning of a battle, you will gain 1 in interest. So that's why you see people stay at like 10, 20, 30, etc. You're trying to get to that next interest point. And the max, of course, is 50. But the biggest difference between auto chess, like I said, and Underlords is the beginning of the battle. So once the battle starts, then you can just buy out your entire shop, and you won't have to worry about it. Of course, you can sell for full value afterwards.
You can also roll up to the next level, so your next free roll at the beginning of the round will be a tier higher. You can even go up to 1 XP away from the next roll to get a higher tier.
That feels very satisfying, by the way.
Yes, I agree.
It's one of the most satisfying things in the game.
For sure, for sure. And also, you can even be greedy towards where you stay at. If you know you're going to win the next round, winning the round gold, you get 1 gold if you win the round every time. That is actually counted towards your next interest. So if you're 29, win the round, you will get 3 interest instead of 2.
Right. That was actually the thing that...
the most dissatisfying thing to happen is when you think for sure you're going to win, and then you
I mean, that happens to me literally every time. That's why I become such a cynical player. But the thing that took me the longest to understand, actually, was the fact that the interest, the 1 gold, or not the interest, the winning gold. The 1 gold that you get from winning actually adds towards the interest, right?
Yeah, so if you have 29 gold, Gaben will write that down, and he will add it up with the 1 gold, and, you know.
Good old Gaben, looking out for our best interest here. All right, let's switch boards here. Who do you want to look at? We got a couple assassin players, one with the Aegis, of course. Haven't seen any pocket sands picked up, which you know how much I love assassins.
Yes,
so. I mean, it's
if there's something Sunsons loves, is assassins and demons, and that has not changed since the release of the game.
that is actually true. All right, YCA, of course, won the last game. Has an early level 2 jug he just picked up. Does have 3 assassins, but this is like one of those, like, just going to put what I can on the board right now and see what happens. Definitely not committing.
Yeah, and while you might think that Juggernaut 2, being a 2-cost unit, being super powerful at rank 2 or star 2, hey, it's not that great.
So, to be fair to my friend Juggernaut, who has been awful in the past, he did just get buffed slightly at level 2 and level 3.
It's not enough.
I know.
Don't listen to him, chat.
I know. Well, I'm not saying pick him. I just don't want Juggernaut to feel too bad because he has great charisma and a lot of confidence from Dota 2. He's a great hero. He's always been a great hero. But in Underlords, it's just very underwhelming. But one day, these micro patches, these micro buffs that he continues to get, he'll get over the hump.
That's true. And the Volve style.
Yeah, indeed.
All right. So Seamil actually has a 7 streak. That's super impressive. And it's extra good for him because the way that his line works, being Scrappies, I mean, we saw him get this super early Alchemist, helping him into going to 4 Scrappies. This will actually help him to peak super well in the mid game because with the new Scrappy buffs and the changes, there's a lot of 3-cost units now, so they will streak longer. And since he has this super long streak that he might complete soon, getting that sweet 4 extra gold, he might be able to go up to 9 to 6 Scrappies. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That would be great to see. I haven't seen that in a very long time.
Right. And so he's keeping the old bounty hunter around before he found the timber saw.
By the way, these effects for Scrappies now are way better than before.
Yes, correct.
They're very nice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, look at how tanky they are.
Yeah, I mean, he's going up against YCA, who is kind of trying to lose, or was trying to lose. Actually, spent some gold, it looks like.
Wow.
But Max still trying to go for that 50 gold, like we talked about. So in terms of his position in the game, like when I'm at round 15 and I'm ready to get to level 7 or close to it, and I have 50 gold and I've only lost like 30 HP, it feels pretty good in this patch.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's not like before, right?
It looks like Max is in a really bad position, but I think he's making the most of how his early game has gone, and I think he's in a much better position than it actually looks. He has a lot of the units that you want to transition into also. With the CMs, he already has a Razor 2, which can be awkward to get when you get later into the game, and it's kind of harder to find when you're high level.
Give him a few rounds.
Give him a few rounds.
He'll be there soon. Somebody we haven't looked at yet, I believe, is Snowf, who did pick up, like we talked about earlier, the Forged in Battle.
Right.
Let's see how much HP these guys have. So Axe, only 5 kills, so he goes from 1,400 to 1,725.
Yeah.
And where is level 1 Beastmaster? It actually does have 3 kills.
Right, right. Yeah, it's
okay.
For Beastmaster to get a lot of kills, you want him, of course, on level 2. But you also would want him with some kind of minus armor, some armor reduction, because his axes are actually physical.
Yeah.
So a great way to put him together with is the Heartless buff, which we can see here already, but also something like Alchemist. It's a good combination.
Alchemist is the dream.
Yep.
So we'll see what he transitions into for the later stage of the game. Obviously, with Lycan now being a hunter, it means he actually has 3 hunters, which is nice.
Otherwise, he would have 3 warriors.
That I guess. Which would you rather have, actually? I don't
Probably 3 warriors.
The warriors is pretty nice. I've seen a lot of, even like the Lord players that still forget that he's a hunter. So they go into the late game and they get decimated because they have no front line at all.
Yeah, no, the Lycan buff was definitely big.
Whoa, I can yo, by the way, as a spectator. Okay, that's next level, guys. I can yo. We can make noise. Excellent. Very happy about this. Hopefully Valve does not patch that.
I think it's interesting with the Lycan change. They only changed the alliance for him, but it actually ripples into so many more changes.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Now it's harder for Savages to get a good front line. It makes Hunters better. It makes Warriors less good in the late game. It's just everything just changes so dramatically because one small change. Because all these lines are kind of like a house of cards, where if you remove one of them, it kind of all falls apart in the combinations.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what small patches can make huge differences in the game.
And this is the only player right now with any Heartless going on. I'm personally an enormous fan of this. If you can get an early 2, I almost go for it every time. It just feels so much easier as long as you have the decent comp to fit around it.
Right. There's not a ton of Heartless units early in the game except for Drow Ranger. There's Pudge, sure, but you usually don't want to... It's hard to get Pudge into rank 2 and transition well with him if you don't have Hunters, because it doesn't fit into a lot of comps, being a warrior. Not great late game most of the time. And then we have a Baron, then you gotta go Knight. So a lot of these units doesn't fit too well with each other, except with when you're doing Hunters. I feel like.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. And repositioning, of course, has changed a little bit with the Wolves. If you're an Assassin, you probably just want to put them in the border now because they won't jump, which is a huge deal. But obviously didn't matter here since his lineup is fairly strong anyway.
Yeah.
But Queen of Pain just got like completely decimated.
At least she got her ult off.
That's true.
You know.
So it's weird to call it an ult, by the way.
Yeah, it's true. They only have one spell, right?
Yeah. And the fact that that's not her ult in Dota.
That's like, also true.
Although, if you notice, the animation is the animation of Sonic Wave.
Oh, it's yeah, because she's pushing forward, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember that.
First time I saw that, I'm like, what? Mind blown right now.
So we actually see, this is interesting, we see some of the top players with their streaks. It's kind of bad in this game to lose one and win one all the time.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, because then you don't get a lot of gold for streaking. So we see 5 players with lose streaks and only 1 with a win streak.
Losing right now, early especially, feels extremely bad. Not just because of the fact that you get less gold, which is a huge deal, but more so you're taking... like, look at this. It's round 16. This guy has 43 HP. This is the guy that just won the game, the last game.
Right. But it still has more gold in its total amount than the second place or whatever.
Right.
Third place.
It's true. But it's very sketchy.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess
43 health.
Right, so we can see Chow Nice having total of 104 net worth, while YC4 has 109.
Yeah.
But also, sure, that comes down to how many times you've rolled. It also comes down to if you upgrade units, they're less worth if you upgrade, say, a level 2 units or more. They're going to be worth less when you sell them, so there's also some to that.
So looking at Nero's board right now, obviously has the Warrior frontline, and for now it's Assassins, which of course the Blink Dagger on Sand King to get off an early burrow.
Yep.
But I was going to say, he does have a lot of demons on his bench. Does he actually want to transition to this? And it looks like the answer to that is yes. Only level 1s of each respective Demon Hunter, though.
Yeah.
So pretty weak at the start. But of course, Blink Dagger, as we talked about earlier, very, very good on TB.
It's going to be interesting for Nairo as well, because he's going to have this big PvE round or creep round coming up. Ooh. Because he's going for these demons, but he really wants a Bedfellows. But, so when he has Embarrassment and Riches, meaning you get to see another item, and Smugglers, you will get a higher tier. He would really want to get a tier 3 Bedfellows at this level 20 or round 20. And after that, it's going to be pretty hard to actually get it, since he has Smuggler. Yeah. Because you always get higher tier items all the time.
He's actually facing the top guy right now. And I was going to say, he's going to put up a decent fight, although Terrorblade does die now, because Terrorblade 2 and Anti-Mage 2 were found this round, which is a huge deal, as we saw last game.
But Simo is just way too powerful at this point. He has ranked up most of his units, much as, like I said earlier. Scrappy's kind of hit their peak here, and they peak pretty hard. And since he already had such a big advantage, it's going to be easier for him to keep his streak. I think also, going back to Nairo, I feel like one of the major reasons why he chose to go for the Demon Hunters is because he had a Blink Dagger.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, getting mana on TB can be kind of an infuriating process a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Either just doesn't take enough damage or takes too much. It's just this fine line. And Blink Dagger, obviously you're put in not the greatest position, so that's why you really want like crowd control of some kind, which right now, I guess you technically have a little bit, but not anything that's not to write home about.
Yeah, Axe is good with him for sure.
Yeah.
Because then he can take enough damage and then Axe Berserker's Call and turn away the focus to Axe instead. So that's a good combination.
Oof.
Yeah.
So this would feel a lot better if he had the... What does he have right now, actually? I was going to say, if he has 2 Warlocks, that's... I mean, we talked about how crowd control is really important for demons, but I think lifesteal as well, or any kind of like lifesteal of some kind, right?
Sure, yeah.
And that's what Warlocks provides.
There's definitely also some Warlocks that can do both. You know, with Doctor, Disruptor, they both help with controlling your opponent's units. So yeah, that's definitely true.
So he's at 20 HP. Are you expecting him to hit a power spike anytime soon? He still has 47 gold. He has to go all in here pretty soon, honestly. With only 20 HP.
It's going to be really tough. He's also torn between a lot of different combinations.
I feel him right now. Just cannot decide what's best.
There's 2 Knights, 3 Warriors. I mean, you would want a tanky lineup, and Warriors have Doom, while Knights have Chaos Knight, so sometimes it's a little bit hard to decide. I feel like he's in a very peculiar position. If he gets a Bedfellows and rolls down, then I think there's a good chance maybe he can get there, but right now it looks quite bleak.
That's a good question for you. Do you think that demons are worth going? I mean, let's pretend that you don't get like the nuts, right? You don't get every unit you need. Do you think it's good or bad, or does it just depend? Going demons without Strange Bedfellows?
I think you can definitely go for it, and here is why I actually think that Nairo might be making a mistake, is that he actually has another demon together with his Terrorblade and Anti-Mage. And the way the Demon Hunter or the Demon buff works is that if you have 1 demon in play, you'll get the buff. If you have 2, they cancel each other out, correct?
Yep.
But the Demon Hunter buff also says that every demon gets 50% pure damage, but that doesn't mean that, sure, Chaos Knight gets the same amount of damage that they did before when you add him, but Terrorblade actually loses 50% damage.
Yeah, this took you trying to explain to me like 4 different times for me to finally understand what the heck you're talking about. But yeah, because Terrorblade is both a demon and a demon hunter, he literally loses damage when you add these extra demons in. So that's why Strange Bedfellows feels like super important, almost like necessary in a lot of games.
Because then it makes sense to add other demons as well. And if you want to add another demon, it has to be powerful enough to warrant that you lose damage on Terrorblade.
Yeah.
And this Chaos Knight one is not worth it. I mean, sure, you have a Shadow Fiend tube with a Warlock, definitely put it in there. Like, this is not a mistake, but I feel like in this case it might be one.
All right, this is going to be dirty here in just a second. As Potato, they don't even need the buff, actually. It's just going to win regardless.
I've never seen that happen, actually.
Yeah, they look very powerful without the buff, apparently.
So now this is a super important Titan for Nairo. Is he
see what
going to
he
get the
gets.
items he needs? Because now he's...
Wait.
Okay, so we're
No,
selling...
that wasn't what he got.
He sold all the warriors? He sold all his warriors, so that's why he
Okay.
got his item back.
Okay,
he got a
Basher?
Skull
No,
Basher,
not
okay.
good enough.
So now Nairo's got to go all in here, and he has to decide his comp if he wants to survive a few more turns.
Wow, he's putting druids in now. He's very desperate, actually. This
Yes.
is not where you want to be for sure. So he's pretty much, you have to go somewhat demons now with a druid frontline, I suppose.
Yeah. We actually have Seema still being at 100 HP. Can he do the perfect game, you think?
No.
No, me neither. But he's very
It's
well on his
possible.
way. I mean, he's level 8 right now, and if we can look how much he's away from going to 9, if we go to Seema, he might actually invest
Far
to
away.
going to 9, and the reason to go to 9 is that the percentage to get legendary units, they increase dramatically, and if you get 6 Scrappies, that's definitely powerful. Does he still have a bounty hunter somewhere? It seems
not on
like
the bench.
no. Okay, so that's a
Yeah,
pretty
it's 4 scraps.
yeah. So that seems like a pretty good tell that it's not gonna go for level 9 and 6 Scrappies. That he just wants to roll here on 8, and seems like he's lost his streak. So that bet went over quickly.
Yeah, that was very quick. Nero actually won on his board. I want to pay attention to some of the low HP guys for now, just so we can see exactly how they die.
Right.
Not to be morbid here, but it is important to see the state of the game, of course. Has 2 more Terrorblades on his bench, so obviously extremely committed to this.
Yeah.
When do you put 2 Terrorblade 2s in? Is that...
Right now.
Okay, now that he got the second one to level 2? Okay.
I mean, I mean, maybe not.
I mean,
But
he has...
you need
gold
Anti-Mage.
now.
You probably need the front line of the both Druids. The Necro is the second Heartless, and you need another tank maybe with a Baton, which seems a little
Provides
bit out of
Heartless.
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't Pain, not fantastic. Maybe Terrorblade is better, but I don't know. I feel like 2 Terrorblades isn't fantastic because you usually don't have enough items to support both. And
Plus, they end up sundering each other, right?
Yeah.
When they metamorphosis.
if they do it at like the same time, then yes.
Yeah.
So it can get a little awkward. Yeah, I think this is just not going to be enough for Nair to stay alive here. I mean, even if it does stay alive, which he won't, his composition is very hard to transition away from. Like, one of his most costly units was a Baton, which didn't fit at all in this
Yeah.
lineup. So
Yeah, it kind of harkens back to what we were talking about before, where it felt like he was just stuck between a bunch of strategies and
Yeah.
just never really committed fully until it was a little bit too late. But YCA, who won the last game, of course, is now on the verge of losing, has 6 Assassins, my favorite build, of course, with the Druid frontline, so kind of old school.
yeah, and we can see him actually have lost the 12 last rounds. So even though he rolled down to 0 gold, and it
Yeah.
seems that he has a fine lineup, he's still losing, which is not a good sign. When we
Yeah.
saw Risk the last game, he went all in for surviving, and then you could really see that it would line up would survive for a long time. And I feel like that's not the case for YSA4 here.
Yeah, and it's round 23, and the fact that you don't have all level 2 units at this point is obviously not ideal as an Assassin player.
For sure.
But
Neither
looks like
does
he'll win
his-
on this board.
Yeah, neither does his opponent Snowf though, so.
True. If he gets to level 25 and finds a Pocket Sands, or maybe... I don't believe you can get BKB this early. Does he have Smuggler? He does have Smuggler.
Okay.
So BKB would be a pretty big deal for somebody like Slark. But the one issue is his front line is just not terrific. It's okay.
Yeah.
You really want that level 2 Lone Druid so that you can roll between the level 3s for each of them.
Definitely.
And obviously this Viper is kind of awkward considering I think he's a lot of people hate this guy. I think he's good if you have the dragon buff,
Yes.
but
He can even tank.
otherwise
He can even tank. at
yeah,
that point.
especially you can just put these guys in front now, right?
Ooh, I don't like... maybe he has to, but I feel like what he was really looking for was a Templar Assassin, so you could get 3 elusive and have Treant becoming a better tank, and Templar Assassin and Phantom Assassin becoming better late game carries. But now that the level... I wanted him to remove his Quap, because I think that was the weakest hero on his board. Maybe we'll look to remove Viper instead if he finds the Templar Assassin. But, I mean, it's going to be hard when he's at 8 and he has no gold, so...
Yeah.
I guess Morphling is the worst here since
Okay.
he doesn't have another Primordial. And he's
And
gone.
he's dead.
And
So
it's gone.
the life of an assassin player, you either lose horribly or you get top 3, but never first.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Sunsfan says.
Yes, unless you get the absolute nuts, which is definitely possible, but not this game.
Next man on
Next
the chopping
guy.
block.
We're just going in
And
order
he's
now.
gone.
And Wrist looks like he has wait, did he have? He does have Aegis though.
Oh yeah, here
we'll
we go.
see. We'll put this to the test, my friends. He would have gotten 6th here.
But you can also see he had 22 gold and a win streak.
Right.
So now he gets to spend the gold that has been saving. So
Whoa.
it's been
Is this
worth
a
lot.
bug? Did he actually have 2 smugglers?
It seems like it.
Have I ever seen that? Is that possible again?
I don't know, my friend. I don't think so.
I've never seen that before. That is... That's investment for the late game if I've ever seen it, if it's actually the case.
Now I actually see Chow now is a 50 gold in HP. This is some balls
wow.
to the walls right here.
He also has Aegis, though.
Oh.
So that's why.
Here we go. Now we
go.
literally can see the reason why we said
Yeah,
the Aegis was
indeed.
good. Because he doesn't have to spend this gold. Not until Aegis is gone, but then he has to be real quick.
Yeah, and he
when it
has
happens.
he has a lot of knights, obviously. What does he have? 6, actually, all 6. With the Viper activating DK. Really needs a DPS item here. Really bad.
Why do you think he split up his units here at level 25? Is there a good reason to do that for the Wildkins?
On the Wild Wings? Is this a rhetorical question and you actually know the answer? Because I don't.
No, me neither.
I think you focus one, or you try to focus one.
I don't think it matters.
Maybe you thought it was the tomato.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense.
I don't. I mean, this is a Lord player, so I highly doubt that's the case. But
Right.
I can't think of another.
I mean, I'm a Lord player too, but I was just surprised. I was just surprised by his positioning, but
Right.
probably just forgot about it. I mean, I could do that too.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's
he
be
does
real.
have Vanguard, so his front line is pretty good. The issue, of course, these days, it feels like he really needs these level 3 units. And Bad Rider, it's not like he's bad, but you would obviously rather have an actual frontliner get to level 3.
Wow, he actually went for. He actually went for putting in a second Warlock instead of the Viper there before we left. Yeah. So maybe he's going up to 9. Yeah, he went up to 9 to put in both in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right, so here we see CML being in first place, starting to level up those units, having a Clockwork 3, which is not useless anymore.
We're going back to the Dragons.
Okay.
I need to see Dragon Knight level 2. Okay, you got the Scotty. It's not great. I was going to hype it up, but you really want damage in this
So
right
how
now.
does the splash damage work with the Scotty debuff?
So I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it works, though. I
Let's
think
see
it's
right
only a
here.
single target. That's, I mean, can you even tell, though?
No.
It's hard.
Right. I mean, Scotty makes the target being hit, dealing less damage by attacking slower.
No.
So
The Aegis, though.
yeah, but he's already at 0 gold, so it becomes less valuable. But the way he didn't have to be anxious previously, that's how he gained a bunch of golds. Yeah.
All right, so now he is consuming the Aegis. I wish
Right.
there was an animation, like da
Like
da da da,
click. Yeah.
something like get wrecked.
Or like Roshan popping up and like grabbing it back. That'd be cool. Like walking down from the top
If
there.
Valve is listening, that's a good
Oh, yeah.
cosmetic option
Yep.
for
You-
potential future.
You know my number, Val. Just hire me.
Yeah.
All right, so putting in Puck instead of Viper
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a preference in this?
depends. I mean, if you're playing Assassin, I clearly prefer Viper for
Yeah.
multiple reasons. I think that you can. I think I prefer Puck mostly. I think it's easy to go mages with DK. Also think that you can put him
He's
in.
already committed to 6 knights, though, right?
Right.
That's the issue.
I think you can put it in a position where you can trick your opponent to do a spell on him, and he has phase shift.
True.
Like Pudge, for example, usually hooks the target that's furthest away. Stuff like that. I think there's some interesting stuff you can do with Puck overall.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And you don't really need like the corrosive skin because you already have knights
Right.
that are tanky to begin
Yeah,
with. Right?
you're still beefy, so.
So he beats Snowf here, who's the second place guy. I mean, this is what we talked about earlier. Look at the HP on everyone right
Yeah.
now. This is absurd. This is where Aegis gets true value.
Right.
And-
Simo still being at a lofty 52 gold and 78 HP.
I think this is bugged because this Aegis is gone.
Yeah.
And then I think this one is still here because we can see it on this screen.
Yes, exactly.
But this is the Dragon Mage you were talking about, right? This is the other option.
This is a fantastic situation to be in.
Is it?
I think so, because he has his lineup. I mean, it's not great being this low on gold and life, but his final lineup is finished. He has his 2 Warlocks, the best 2 Warlocks to have with mages, because they deal pretty raw magic damage. He has his Dragon Knight and, well, the 6 mages, of course. So I think his lineup is nice, and if he finds a Lich, that will be a large improvement. So he's very, like, settled in.
But this is a DK1 versus a DK2. Physical damage versus magic. I believe the dragon's poison is magic, not that it really matters that much.
You can see an interesting thing happen here for Wrist. While he won this battle, his units were split up to not take as much AoE damage, but it also made that some of his knights didn't get the buff. But with DK2 kind of ruling this battlefield, it's just, yeah.
this is such a close game, and the Aegises are actually, maybe this isn't a bug. Chow knives. I thought for sure this was, yeah, it's gone.
No, it's gone, and it's gone as well.
Okay. Well, is it gone or is he dead?
No, dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, CML is knocking out players one by one.
Yeah.
The one who faces CML, and he's gone.
Yeah, so CML has probably won this game.
Yes.
So we're going to focus on all these.
He has your favorite unit in the game also.
Ooh. Wait, who?
CML.
Oh, level 3 Veno? Yeah, that's pretty dirty. And he has the Octarine Essence, so
those
that
are
is
friends.
quite disgusting.
Yeah.
Dude,
Does he have the CM too?
Now I'm confused.
Does he have the CM as well?
No.
Okay.
On the bench.
On the bench, so getting there.
All right. I thought I saw 2 Indomitable Wills, but I think that's just on the scoreboard. Either way, 75% less debuffs on humans, which is a large portion of your lineup here, of course.
Yeah.
Considered one of the weakest items.
No, I agree. It takes a lot for that item to actually do something, and it has to be relevant that the debuffs actually decrease. Like, oh my lord. It's a draw, right?
It is a draw.
And which is very important because now the creep round begins, so he can't die this turn.
Oh, and Wrist dies right afterwards. So that is your top. Oh, and Max as well. Let's get the split screen going here. Look at this fancy, juicy stuff we got going on.
And there's 3 players left.
Yeah, okay. they just die so fast in this game now. What can you do?
Yeah. So the real question is not who wins.
There we go, the 3-player screen. We're ready to go. One day.
Seems like Simo is so far ahead that it's actually going to go up to 9. Oh, and there's 4 screens.
That's fine. We're beta testing this feature, guys. We're creating it on the fly. Everything's fine. Nothing just happened. Continue watching the Triceratops heal up to full HP constantly. Is this a good lineup versus Triceratops? The silence is good, right, from the structure?
I think there's 2 ways to do it. Either you stun them, you CC them so they can't attack and go up to full HP, or you have tank enough units so when the bloodlust and the lifesteal is over, they will not gain life anymore. Oh my lord.
11. This is why Venomancer is such a god. Even just a level 1 item in Tooth and Claw, it stacks up so much.
Well, I would say it's mostly due to CM giving him a bunch of mana and having
essence
0%, or I mean 50% less cooldown. And what's interesting about Venomancer is the more powerful it gets, actually the higher the cooldown becomes. So when you get 3 wards instead of 1, the cooldown is higher because it's so powerful, but if you cut that by half, add a CM, it becomes very insane very quickly. And you got to remember that Venomancer is a warlock, so every time he does this, somebody will go up to full health.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's literally amazing right now with CM and all the buffs that he has.
All right, so we're going to try we got the 3 screens going again. Beautiful. All right, so we see CML in the big screen because he's likely to win this game, let's be real. So let's focus on the other 2 for now. Snowf will be fighting it off. And we'll see who gets the unlucky draw against CML, really.
I think it mostly comes down to that.
It's True Mad. Ends up facing CML with his Dragon Mage lineup on the top right here. Of course, it's only a level 1 Dragon.
It is
Dragon Knight.
Probably the best lineup you can have against Scrappy still.
True, but that's a level 3 Clockwork with BKB, and he's not doing anything.
Yeah, he's not going to die.
Oh, boy.
And it's gone.
All right.
So the question is, okay, so very importantly for Snowth is that it was able to beat TrueMad on his own board. So that means he will most likely be second.
Yeah, that is true. So TrueMad is out, and Snowth with 1 HP. Can he do it? We're on to the 2-player left screen, the 1v1 mode, as it were. Of course, the actual 1v1 mode, according to Valve, will be coming, quote-unquote, soon, which I am personally extremely excited about.
Same here.
Cannot wait. That is going to be super hype. CML versus Snowf. Snowf on the bottom right here, we're going to be focusing on considering his 1 health and looking at his items. No Aegis intact, my friend. So,
do you know what's better than Shadow Fiend?
What do you mean? Oh, for C-Mail?
Two shadow fiends. Two shadow fiends.
I was going to say, I don't think anything's going to shadow.
Let's,
Multiple shadow fiends, indeed. And
Yeah.
Of course, if we're looking at the bottom right, this is the more important screen because this is the damage that could end the game, and it looks like it will. The hunters will not be enough. And as a result, C-Mail will win this convincingly with a
For sure.
ridiculous line. I mean,
And
hey, I technically was right with the Savages.
Yeah.
Huh? Huh?
Yeah, you were right. And I mean, Scrappy came back as well. That we
Yeah.
talked about the Endless Dusk. And interesting enough, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that both Female and Snowf were in the top 4 last game, correct?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So
I'd have to look at it, but yeah, I think so.
might be wrong, but I feel like they had a pretty good edge early. So if that's the case, they were going to have a fantastic lead coming to this tournament. So
I mean, we saw
great.
a couple interesting games, right? Game 1 was the demon. What do we want to call that, actually? The nuts of the demons. Like, literally the best possible lineup you
Yeah.
can have for the most part. This lineup with the Scrappies, you have, obviously, the Savage buff, which,
Right.
again, it's a level 1 item that
Yeah.
he got. But he accentuated it nicely because Venno got to 3. And like you said, CM with the Octarine
Right.
Essence. I mean, it's absolutely
Yeah.
disgusting. So let's see what the panel has to say with this.
sounds good. Sounds
Do
good.
you guys like Venomancer 3? Good unit, eh?